Hello and welcome back to the channel. It is I, Domiko L. Cunningham, better known as Dr. Media. So I know it has been quite a long time since my last Freenas video, or actually any video. A lot of things have been going on, and I'll be able to talk about those things a little bit later in the summer. I know it sounds very ominous and scary and, but it's not. It's good things. So, I have been retooling my Freenas box. So in retooling my Freenas box, I had some issues, and these are some things that I wanted to kind of get around that I was having issues with. One, I run a Kodi. I'm running Kodi. Basically, all of my files are being served from my Freenas box. So one thing I had to implement was being able to set up NFS shares, which are network file shares, and it's a Unix or Linux format type of a share. So it's not an SMB share like a Samba share. Windows Samba shares are good, but Windows Samba can be a little bit slow, and that's what I was finding. I was finding that with Windows SMB Samba shares, I was getting a little bit of slow kind of throughput to my Kodi installations that are on Android boxes throughout the house. The other thing that I've been working with is I have been editing a film here lately. So with editing this film, I've got a lot of storage space on this machine. So if I go look at this actual machine, if we go and look at the storage space for it, and right now it's almost kind of full, but if you look in here, you can see I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 drives that are in this machine that all are about, all of these things are about a gigabyte, about a gig. So I've got all of these in here, and what I wanted to be able to do was have some expanded space. Now I've got the Freenas boxes set up, and there are basically 3 pools in this Freenas box. So I've got a lot of pools, a lot of storage in there, and I'm storing a lot of film and stuff like that, but I also have a lot of unused space. One thing that's going to happen throughout the summer is that we're about to upgrade this Freenas box to a bigger, badder Freenas box. This Freenas box right now is running about I believe it's like 9 or 10 drives that are all running in ZFS 5. So there's redundancy for 1 drive, which is okay. It's not mission critical stuff, but we're going to start doing some more mission critical stuff, so we're going to need some more space and more speed. So with that being said, if you notice, one of these things in here about my volumes is that one volume is like 28 gigs. Like, this is a pretty small volume. Well, what this volume is, it's not really a volume. And I'll tell you what this is. If you're familiar, or if you're not familiar, there is a format in the networking world which we now call iSCSI. So basically Internet SCSI. And SCSI is a format that's been around for a very long time. SCSI drives were kind of the Mac Daddy drives that you could get for a machine. So it used to be that SCSI came on every machine you can think of. So SCSI was kind of everywhere, and it's always stayed in the enterprise level, and it's still there in the enterprise level. Now, for most home computers, most of them do not have SCSI controllers and SCSI drives. SCSI drives were actually more expensive than regular IDE drives interface. But since the transition to SATA, we really don't need those mandatory SCSI drives anymore. We've got SATA, and we've got ways to be able to do that. We got SAS drives and SATA drives that can basically get that same kind of throughput on a network level. So an iSCSI, also a block iSCSI, what that does is that allows you and sets up shares that you can use on your computer. The difference between an iSCSI share and a Samba share or SMB share is that an SMB share is a network location. So you can see I've got quite a few. I've got 5 terabytes here for movies, 3 terabytes here. So I've got like 8 terabytes for just movie storage. And then I have an additional 1 terabyte in here for TV show storage. So that's 9 terabytes right there. And then there is an additional 2 terabytes that sit down here. So altogether, like 11 terabytes is what this full drive is what my FreeNAS drives are capable of, and they're being shared out over Samba shares. So this is kind of useful because I can come in here and go look at software and stuff like that, or look at render stuff that's rendered to the render drive. Now the render, I will tell you, the render drive is not a shared pool. It is basically just one drive that's being spit out as a Samba share to the network. So when I do my rendering, I'm able to drop things directly to that. Now, how iSCSI comes into play, if we look at this new volume Z right here, it's 30 gigs. This volume right here is basically a FreeNAS, it's basically being housed on the FreeNAS server. But if you look, it's showing up as a device or a regular drive. And I can do everything I normally would do. I could come in here and let's make a new file on this drive. So I'll come in here and make a new Word document. And there's my brand new Word document. I can open it up, and you can see Word opens up for it. Let's close the other stuff down. But you can see that Word does open up for it, and everything is there. So to Windows, the way Windows sees this is that there is no difference between this volume here and a regular normal Windows drive. Now that's really powerful, because not only I don't have to worry about trying to reconnect a drive in the network location and put all these these Samba shares out there and have Samba running, because like I say, to me Samba's quite slow at times. NFS does a better job of handling higher throughput files, and I'll even show you how to do that in another video that's coming this week. I'm going to put out 2 videos this week, so this video is coming out today, and I'll have another video out over the weekend for how to set up an NFC or NFC football, right? But set up an NFS share in the other video. But in this video, back to iSCSI. So the way iSCSI works is that it shows up as a physical drive. So I have to physically add this drive to Windows, and I can install. The funny thing is you can actually install programs to this. So even though this drive will be on my FreeNAS server, so this drive, this data is being housed in the FreeNAS server, but to Windows, it looks like a normal drive. Because when you first set this drive up, you actually do have to format the drive. Because at the rawest form of it, you just have a block of data, or you have a device block, and you have not done anything to it. So realistically, if I wanted to, I can install something onto this volume if I wanted to. So let's go up. Let me show you how we set this up. Now I've already set up my iSCSI for this. So the first thing you want to do, and I'm going to tell you, first thing you want to do is go in here to FreeNAS and go to Services, and I'm going to go to my Control Services. Now by default, your iSCSI will be turned. This iSCSI protocol is going to be turned off. You want to turn that on. That's going to be the first thing. Turn on your iSCSI stuff. Now, the next thing you want to do is I'm going to come back in here, and we want to make sure that we've already set up volumes. So if you don't know how to set up volumes inside of FreeNAS, this is not a video for that. So if you don't know how to set up volumes, you probably shouldn't be watching this anyway. If you haven't already set up volumes of some kind for your FreeNAS, there's no point in us even talking about the iSCSI stuff, because you're not ready, right? So you want to have volumes set up. So you need to have some volumes that are already set up. So to get into my iSCSI, to be able to do this, so I'm going to go here to my sharing tab, and you'll see there is a sharing in here for block iSCSI, and I can click on Target Global Configurator, and this brings me here. So this is the base name of my block iSCSI. And then pull available space thresholds at 50%. So one of the first things I want to do is I want to add a portal. So I can either click on portals, I can come here and click on portals, and you'll see right now I've got a portal set up. So we'll go through this. I'm not going to add a new portal because I've already added all the things to set up my iSCSI, so I don't want to add a brand new portal, right? So I'm going to say add portal. And right here, you can comment this, so you can, say, give a comment to it or whatever you want to. The discovery authentication method and authentication group, we're not going to use these because we're not setting up groups or any kind of Active Directory or anything like that. If you were doing a more secure installation of iSCSI, you definitely want to set up an authorization method as well as a group of people that are authorized to have access to that iSCSI share, or that iSCSI block rather. So, and then the next thing in here, the thing that you want to make sure you set, so if you're doing a very unsecure one, leave these on none, but you do want to set the IP address of your Freenas box. So you'll see right here, it's just my box's internal IP address. So it's 10.110.16. So I would set that and then I would hit OK. And you can see right here, this is the portal group ID. It's ID 1, and then it's listening over 10.1.10.16.3260, which is the actual TCP port that it's listening over. So the next thing I want to do in here is set up my initiators, because you need something that's going to be able to initiate. So if I go in here to initiators, you'll see initiators, it just has all authorized networks, all. Once again, if you're setting this up to be more secure, you want to set specific DNS initiators and specific DNS network, or a specific network that's able to access this block SCSI. So got that set up, and then authorized access in here. And you can see I'm not doing any authorized users, so I don't have to set up any authorized access because I'm not setting up any users. If you wanted to, let's say you wanted to, let some people have access to these iSCSI blocks and some people didn't, and they're all on the same network, where I can say add authorized access, give it a group ID, user, their password, and then also the peer user and the peer secret and everything else. So this would become for the admin sitting here, and this is for the user that's going to be actually using it. So you have some kind of authentication method set up to get access to the block. So I'm not going to do that. Everything inside of my network is locked off. So the other thing I need to find, or I need to add, is a target. So I'm going to come here and add a target. So you want to add a target name, and you can give it an alias if you want to. You don't have to, but you definitely want to give it a name. And then right here for your portal group ID, you want to choose 1, and then for your initiator group, you want to choose group 1, because that's the level that you're sitting at. So you could have multiple SCSIs that basically could be initiated and be in different groups. So you could have one block SCSI set up for the finance department, one block set up for the art department, and so on and so forth. And then they would be able to get access to the blocks that you're trying to let them have access to, but not be able to bother other people's blocks that they're not supposed to be in. So we're going to give it a name. You need to give it a name and make sure you choose the group and initiator IDs. The authentication method, if you're not doing the authorized access, then leave these on none. So once you got that set up, we're going to hit OK. The other thing you need to do is set up your extents. Now your extents are interesting. So you can see right here I have one extent already set up. It has a serial number to it, and the extent type is a file. And then it has a path to that extender. So I'm going to say add extent, and this is where it gets kind of tricky. So you want to give it a name, so you can name this whatever. We'll say, testing. And right now I'm not going to give it a device because I don't have a device. If I had a RAID card in this FreeNAS, then I could give it a specific device that I wanted to activate, but I don't have a device. So you still can use it, and you can use file, the file method. When you click on file, you'll see it says path to extent. So I'm going to come here and go browse. I'm going to go to my mount point, and I'm going to go to my PH Media 1 mount point, and we're going to make it like right here. So I'm going to click that, and it's going to be right there. And then also I'm going to add on this /testing, and make sure that I name it the same way that my extent name is. And I'm going to say extent size is going to be, let's say 50. And let's do 5 GB, so 5 gigabytes. And then logical block size. If you're used to formatting hard drives, this logical block size should make sense because these are block sizes for actual devices. So I'm going to set this one to 1024. And you can even disable block size reporting, and you can set available threshold. You can give comments to it. And then everything else I'm going to leave the way that it is. And you could set this to read only if you wanted to. And then this right here is what the LUN, so what the LUN of the RPM is. So basically you're trying to tell Windows what kind of drive this is. Is it an SSD drive? Is it a 5400 RPM, 7200, 10,000, 15,000 RPM drive? And since I know that the drives that are in here are 7200, I'm just going to leave this as a 7200. So this is stuff that's going to be reported to Windows, and I'm going to hit OK. Now you have to remember, when you go through here and if you're going to use the file for your extent, you have to give it the name of that actual extent name. So it'll be the mount point, the volume / the name of the extent, and it needs to be done correctly. So I'm going to cancel that. I don't want to do that again. And then I need to associate targets. So I need a target for this. So I'm going to go in here and add target. So you can see the target is going to be the target that I set here earlier, and then the extent is going to be testing. And then I'll just set this so it doesn't interfere with the other one. I'm going to set this to LUN ID 1 because I've already got one for 0. So I've got this in his LUN ID 1, and that's good. So right now iSCSI is running on FreeNAS. Now I need to go and make iSCSI work inside of Windows. So the way to do that, and you can do this from Windows 10, I'm just going to type in iSCSI. So I type in so you can see iSCSI, and it'll bring up this desktop application, which is the iSCSI initiator. So I'm going to click on that, and you can already see I am already connected to my FreeNAS box, but I'll do this just for your sake. So I'm going to say 10.1.10.16 and say quick connect, and you'll see there it is. It pops up. There's the name of it. So this ign.205-10.org.freenas.ctl Phoenix target, and you can see it sitting right there. Now if you look back, if we jump back here to the global configurator, you'll notice this base name is the name that pops up here for the iSCSI. So if you wanted to change the name of your iSCSI, you can change that here. All right, so I'm going to say done. It's already connected to it. So the next thing I need to do is go here to my volumes and devices, and I'm going to say I want to auto configure, and you can see right now it's already got the Z drive in there. So I can come in here and you could add another, drive. So what this does with auto configure, it's basically looking at this, and since I didn't set up any targets or anything else for this the next time, it's not showing up this other extent in here. So what I've got that all set up. That's all good. So the next thing I need to do is go in here, and I need to go to my computer management. So I'm going to right click on the Windows, Windows key or the Windows button. If you're in Windows 10, you can easily get to this. So just right clicking on the Windows icon and just go here to computer management. So here inside of computer management, if I go down to disk management, now if you're doing this brand new, what you'll see and you can see right here that it's looking for you must initialize a disk before logical disk manager can access it. And you'll see it's disk 6. I'm not going to do a master boot record disk. I'm going to do a GPT disk and hit OK. If I look down here in my disks, you'll notice, well, look right there. I've got a brand new disk, this 4.97 GB, an unallocated disk. If I right click on this and I say I want a new simple volume, let's go next, next, and I can say that I want to give it a drive letter, and then the new volume, let's just call this, temp drive or temp storage, let's just call that. And you can do in compression. So this is basically how you would format any other drive, right? So I'm going to say next and say finish. So you'll notice if I come in here and I say open, well, look. And if I go back here to my actual computer, you'll see that I now have a brand new temp storage drive right here. And this drive works like any other drive. I can copy things from it, copy things to it, and everything is able to be accessed from this drive as if it, well, it's not as if it is. This is a regular functioning Windows drive. So I hope that's been helpful to you. If it has been helpful, then click that like button and subscribe to the channel for more great things like this. I've already told you that over this weekend we're going to be putting out another video, which is going to be setting up the network file shares, which is actually pretty simple to do as well inside of Freenas. But if setting those things up and being able to access them, sometimes they can give you problems in the beginning, but overall, it's not that bad of a thing. So if you like I said, if you like what you saw, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. It helps us out. And if you didn't like it, then leave, let me know that too. And if you've got questions or things, leave those things in the comments. Sometimes it takes me a while to get through a lot of the comments, but I try to make sure that I get through the comments of the community. And I want to thank everybody that has helped build the Dr. Media and Phoenix Inception family here on YouTube. And with it, I really do it for all of you all. It's not for me. It's not to be braggadocious and have a platform. It's really just because I like doing cool stuff and I like being able to share that with other people. And if you find use and value out of it, then fantastic. But until next time, I am Domiko L. Cunningham, better known as Dr. Media.